"Daniel, we've chosen this school because it's the best for your future. It's just like Hogwarts," my mother said, trying to get me excited about the idea of attending Hawthorne School for the gifted. I was a shy 11-year-old boy, and being away from my parents was not something I had ever experienced before. Little did I know that the boarding school would change my life forever. As I entered the grand gates, I felt a shiver down my spine. The school seemed to be a normal place, full of excited children and kind teachers. I was assigned to room 13, sharing it with two other boys named Ethan and Samuel. We quickly became friends, and I felt a sense of belonging at last. But the seemingly perfect facade didn't last long. The once kind and gentle teachers transformed into cruel and abusive taskmasters. The change was gradual, making it all the more insidious. Mrs. Falloway, the history teacher, began by reprimanding us for the smallest of mistakes. Soon, she would hit our knuckles with a wooden ruler, leaving them red and swollen. Her punishments became more severe, and the whole class started to dread her lessons. Even the mere sight of her walking down the hallway was enough to make our hearts race with fear. Mr. Thornley, the science instructor, had always been a strict teacher, but his methods took a dangerous turn. He would force us to inhale noxious chemicals in the lab, claiming it was part of the curriculum. At first, it caused us nothing more than headaches and nausea, but eventually students began fainting and developing alarming symptoms. The school nurse seemed to turn a blind eye, ignoring our pleas for help. Miss Marwood, the literature teacher, delighted in humiliating us in front of the class. She would read our essays aloud, ridiculing every error and making us feel worthless. Her words were like venom, poisoning our confidence and leaving us with a paralyzing sense of self-doubt. Even the usually amiable Mr. Pemberton, the music teacher, had become a tyrant. The once tranquil music room turned into a chamber of torture, where students were berated and forced to practice until their fingers bled. The melodies that used to bring us joy now felt like haunting dirges, echoing through the corridors of the school. This cruel behavior seemed to spread among the staff like a disease, infecting even the most gentle souls. It became evident that something sinister was at work in the hallowed halls of Hawthorne, and we could no longer ignore the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. Things took a sinister turn when one night, during a storm, I was awoken by whispers in the hallway. I peeked outside my door and saw a hooded figure entering the headmaster's office. Curiosity got the better of me, and I followed at a safe distance. As I peeked through the keyhole, I saw the hooded figure with a group of teachers chanting in a strange language. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but the atmosphere was thick with dread. The next morning, I told Ethan and Samuel about my discovery. Samuel's face grew pale and he whispered, "I've heard rumors about this school. They say it used to be a haven for witches and occult practitioners. It was a place where they could hide and perform their rituals without being persecuted." We decided to investigate further. Our curiosity led us to the school's library, where we discovered a hidden door behind a bookcase. It led to a dark chamber filled with ancient books and artifacts. We found a worn book titled The Chronicles of Hawthorne, a history of the school and its dark origins. The pages were brittle, and we read about the school's connection to witchcraft and the occult. As the days went by, we became more and more disturbed by the abusive behavior of our teachers. We noticed that our fellow classmates were starting to change as well. Their eyes seemed lifeless, their voices hollow, and they didn't seem to have the energy to fight back against the cruelty they endured. One night, Samuel went missing. Ethan and I searched the school, but there was no trace of him. Desperate and scared, we returned to the hidden chamber in the library. We found a passage in the ancient book that spoke of a ritual that could break the hold of the witches over the school. Knowing that time was running out, we decided to perform the ritual. We gathered the necessary ingredients, a lock of hair from each of us, a drop of our blood, and a piece of parchment with a protection sigil drawn on it. We placed the items in a small iron cauldron and recited the incantation from the book. Obscura malum, vinculum frangere, tenebris liberare, lumine vincere, presidium nobis, exorcizare potestas, finem facere, hinc spiritus recessit. We chanted. Though we did not know what the words meant, we could feel their power. Obscurum malum, vinculum frangere, tenebris liberare, lumine vincere, presidium nobis, exorcizare potestas, finem facere, hinc spiritus recessit. We chanted again. Suddenly the ground shook, and the cauldron exploded, sending a shockwave throughout the school. We heard screams and yells from the teachers, who seemed to be in immense pain. As we cautiously left the library, we found Samuel lying unconscious in the hallway. The power of the ritual had broken the witch's hold on him. Knowing that we had to leave before the witches regained their strength, we gathered our belongings and prepared to escape. The halls were eerily silent, as if the school itself was holding its breath. We carried Samuel on our shoulders, hoping he would regain consciousness soon. We made our way to the front door, but it was locked with an enchanted chain. Panic set in as we realized that we might not make it out alive. We heard footsteps approaching, and the air grew heavy with dark energy. The teachers, with rage in their eyes, were converging on our location. Ethan, who had been silently studying the protection sigil on the parchment, suddenly had an idea. He whispered, "The power of this sigil broke their hold on Samuel. Maybe it can break their hold on the door, too." Desperate, we pressed the parchment against the enchanted chain, reciting the incantation once more. As the last word left our lips, the sigil on the parchment began to glow. The chain shattered, and the door creaked open just wide enough for us to slip through. As we stepped out into the cold night, Samuel finally regained consciousness, coughing and sputtering. We ran as fast as our legs could carry us, not daring to look back. The wind whipped at our faces, and the moon cast a haunting glow over the school. We could hear the enraged screams of the teachers, their dark curses chasing us through the night. We made our way to a nearby village, where we found refuge in an old church. The priest listened to our story, and with a solemn expression, agreed to help us. He contacted our parents, and we stayed under his protection until they arrived. As we left the village, I looked back one last time at the school that had become our prison. The rumors of its dark past had proven true, but we had managed to escape the clutches of the occult and witchcraft. The Hexed Halls of Hawthorne would haunt our dreams for years to come, but we had survived, and we were finally free. Years later, the school was shut down, and the truth about its sinister practices was exposed. As for Ethan, Samuel, and me, we went on to live normal lives, forever bound together by our shared experience. Yet sometimes, when the night is dark and the wind howls through the trees, we can't help but remember the horrors we faced at the Hawthorne School for the Gifted. And though we escaped, the memories of the Hexed Halls will always remain, a chilling reminder of the evil that once walked those hallowed grounds. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.